Okay, everybody. So, as you can notice, Mel is not here because he is lazy and he's old, so he has to take a nap, which is totally fine. You're gonna leave it for the young guys. I'll do the work as always. But this is a good 5 minutes. And today we got my man Luke from season 5 of Lego Masters. If you remember him, he was the son of the mother and son team. He goes big. Literally, a lot of the builds on the show, he had to be the tallest, had to be the biggest. I would say one of my favorite builds from season 5 was that Batmobile, the truck, the semi truck. And it was a great commemoration to your family and everything like that. And I just love when you connect stuff like that and the way you built it and the way you went big on every single challenge. It's wonderful, it's amazing. Recently, well, not too recently, but I think maybe a year ago, I think Beyond the Brick did something at your house where you made the largest roller coaster drop out of Lego, something like so. You go big all the time. I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of that. Luke, welcome to a good 5 minutes. How you been, man?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, Corey. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, we are going to talk about something that I cannot remember anyone else in the Lego community who did this. So I'm interested about a few things, and I know the fans who are watching, they're probably interested as well. So let's dive right into it. But before I ask any questions, and we ask this question to everybody who comes on, when was your first experience with Lego, and how did Lego Masters change that experience?
Yeah, that's an awesome set of questions. So my first experience with Lego was at the age of 5. I got my first Lego set, which was a car and a helicopter, and I actually sat down at the kitchen table and built it together with my mom. And so it's really cool that Lego Masters brought that full circle, and that not only were we building and playing and creating together, but we were doing so in the biggest stage in the world with some of the best builders in the world. And so I grew up building sets, got into custom creations in middle school, really started pushing myself in high school and into college, and then being on Lego Masters, really just going big, going bold, trying to do the best we could every single challenge. And on Lego Masters, doing that right alongside my mom was absolutely a dream come true and probably the greatest experience of my life.
Absolutely. I'm trying to go back. I think another mother-son team was Sam and Nina. I think that was our,
Yes.
our our first introduction to a mom and son dynamic. And just seeing you and your mom together, working together, you could tell that there is a bond. There's a strong bond, especially when it comes to Lego. So I always ask those questions and I always love hearing those answers. So, but let's dive into why we have you on today. So you recently have a patent, a US patent. The
Yes.
process is very interesting. I know a few friends who have done it. I know friends who work at the US Patent Office and stuff. So I'm a little bit familiar with it, but not so much. So the first question I have for you is, when did you have this idea for this patent?
Yeah, that's fantastic. And there's actually a couple different layers to this question. So the idea for the build came about well before the actual patent process. So the name of this Lego creation is called the Quad Coaster. So it's a quadruple dueling power style roller coaster. And so I got the idea for the build actually based on a space constraint in our own house where a lot of my builds are really large and sprawling. But I said, you know what? We got these nice tall ceilings for a reason. Let's see if I can build a roller coaster that's taller because I love roller coasters. I love riding them, designing them, building them. I've done a couple in the past and done some since then. So this was that kind of next step about how can I really change the game for Lego roller coasters. And then as I started building it and as the final form was coming together, I realized I've never seen a real roller coaster like this before. And so I started doing some research into what's called in the patent process prior art. So, what are other patents? What are other real roller coasters? Even just concepts that people have come up with. And I could not find anything similar to this idea where there are multiple towers, four or more or fewer trains that are all running and dynamically interacting with one another. And so I said, you know what? I think I really have something unique here. And so ended up going down the route for utility patent, which encompasses actual design and mechanization as opposed to just aesthetics. So ideally, the functionality of how this ride really works is protected. And so it started from the Lego idea. Initially, prototyped it, built it, looked at it and said, "Wow, I think I got something cool here."
Wow. All right. So as kids growing up, we we are told to let your imagination run wild, and when you're building with Lego, that enables that imagination. But you've taken it to a whole new level, in which you you are now you now have this U.S. patent. So my next question leads into this: how long was the process, and the process of inception to construction to the patent process? How long was all of that together?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing with patents because it's one thing for me to think, oh, I want a patent, and it's a whole nother to actually go through that process, and it's a long process. So, depending on the complexity of the overall invention, it can span from months to many years. My process in particular was right around 2 years, a little bit above or below there, just from initial contact and concept to actually building it and making it happen, finalizing claims and sketches and things like that. So, ironically, this project and the actual Lego construction finished shortly after filming Lego Masters. So to tie back into your original question about how did that shape your experience, I would say that being on Lego Masters really pushed my boundaries and my limits as a builder and said, you know what, I can do things that are big, motorized, and bold that no one's ever done before. And so not just in Lego, I've expanded that into the real world, into a real fully fleshed out roller coaster patent idea. And so took about 2-ish years from start to finish. Thankfully, I'd spent a lot of time up front researching the prior art and other patent ideas to try and make my claims and sketches as unique as possible. Because the amount of back and forth you have with the patent office is something that really can drag on for a long time. But the
Mhm.
first initial round of feedback we got was very positive, just needed to make a couple quick tweaks here and there. But the groundwork was really laid. And then it's a lot of hurry up and wait, the patent process. It's a lot of, okay, spend a lot of time and a lot of energy, and then you hear nothing for a few months and think, well, how did it go? Did it work? Did it not? So a lot of hurry up and wait, but all definitely worth it in the end. And a couple years from start to finish, grew a lot, learned a lot, and think it came out for the best.
Nice, nice. A lot of Lego masters would say that they experience the same thing applying for Lego masters. They'll hear something, they won't hear anything for like months at a time. All right, well, I didn't get in. And then next, hey, can you pack your bags? Like, we
Yeah.
want you to come out. I haven't heard from you in months. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess let's kind of dive into, but not, I guess, in too much detail, because I'm not sure how intense it is. Can you explain what like this model? So
Mhm.
so you said you created you came up with the idea. You double checked to see if it's not something that exists. So what made you come up with this idea? Was it just to be unique, or was it something that, oh, what if I came up with this to just separate myself from other, designers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, the beginning of every project starts with something that I'm passionate about and I really want to build. And so a lot of the times, especially recently, that's roller coasters. And so I said, okay, how do I make a unique roller coaster? And I love building tall. Well, a different way to go tall than long is just to make it a big tower. And so that's how it initially started, was just one single tower. Then eventually I realized, okay, well, if I'm going to make 4 different trains go up, I'm going to need some external lift towers. So those are two dueling spiral lifts that bring the cars all the way up to the top. And then they can go down on their different intensity paths for different audiences if it were really built in real life. Um, and so as that whole process is going on, I'm sketching, I'm doing more research, and the timeline is going on about how can I continue to make this more unique? And it's really a lot of trial and error too. So interestingly, the first form of this model used a totally different lift mechanism than the spirals that ended up on the final version. And it's actually kind of neat because the spirals ended up being more unique than anything in the prior art as well. So for me, it's really
Mhm.
just about what am I truly passionate about? Because that's what I'm going to enjoy building the most and hopefully use the most to inspire others as well.
Wow. Wow. And I guess it kind of leads into the second part of the question. Why patent it?
Yeah. So for me, there's a couple reasons. One, when I design something that's maybe this unique in such a popular field as roller coasters, it's a great portfolio piece. As someone who, especially through the process, was in college and looking to build a portfolio, build a resume, stand out in applications to companies and things like that. Having your name on an official U.S. patent is really pretty rare. In addition, I love the roller coaster industry, and so I've said for a long time that potentially a dream job could be in themed entertainment or in a roller coaster company. And so bringing this idea to them and saying, hey, this is something that I've built, I've designed, it's original, here's the proof, is really powerful. And then additionally, from a licensing perspective, could be really neat to bring this to a roller coaster company and say, hey, here's this original idea. I have the protection and the rights for it. Let's build it. We can scale it to any size. We can install it at any number of parks. And so I think that would be a great avenue if maybe I don't build the real roller coaster itself, is to
Right.
go to another company and say, hey, let's make this happen. Let's turn this into a real ride. And a patent is a great way to go about that.
Wow. That is brilliant. Because again, to do something, to have your name connected to a patent, that is such a like one step above the rest in a sense, to say, hey, this is my portfolio, and just by the way, I have this too. So that's wow, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. So my number four question, we kind of answered already, the Lego Master influence. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you a bonus question at the end, but my fifth
Okay.
question, or fourth question in this case. Now, you used Lego parts to build this.
Mhm.
So a little brief background with me. I used to, well, I still do. I sell my Brago pins and stuff like that. And it's something I created. And I said, hey, at one time I said, hey, what if I got a patent for this? Because I got these pins. I don't see anyone else doing it. And I
Mhm.
said, you know what, let me look into that, or trademark it or something like that.
Yeah.
And the when I started doing the initial research, I reached out to Lego, and Lego literally said, because you're using our components, there's a bit of an IP issue and stuff like that, and there's others who do something similar but not on this level. So it was a lot of like corporate jargon and stuff like that. So I just
Mhm.
kind of I
Yeah.
just kind of let it go. But in this case, you're using Lego parts. You got a U.S. patent. Was there any interaction with the Lego group? Was there any pushback? Was there any green light? Yeah, go ahead. Were they involved in any of this process?
Yeah, very interesting you bring that up. And it's cool to hear your story about it and your experience, because that's even neat that it differs person to person like that. I personally did not engage with Lego at all through this, because in my mind, using the Lego system just as a means of prototyping and a proof of concept was unique in and of itself. When
Mhm.
I went about going for the patent for this, I had conceptualized in my mind that Lego was solely an intermediate. It would never actually be in the patent. So all
Okay.
of the figures, all of the wording never references anything to do with Lego. All of the sketches are purposefully de-Legoified. Definitely not a word, but in this
Yeah.
case, it applies.
Yeah.
So I made very very clear in the sketches that it could look like Lego, and obviously the real prototype is. But the fact
Mhm.
that it is a design for a real roller coaster that's designed to be at a much larger scale than the
Right.
prototype that I constructed allowed me to not circumvent, but sort of use strategically Lego bricks as a tool to prototype, and then sort of
Mhm.
abstract it from that and say, okay, this is a sketch and a mechanical mock-up of what it could look like. The design can be totally different. The scale can be totally different. It's really just using it as a sort of a stepping stone to that final unique product to me.
Okay. Awesome. That makes a lot of sense, because you're just utilizing it as a tool to build something that can ultimately be something on a very larger scale. Like, they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to replicate Lego bricks and
Yeah.
Technic pieces on a large scale. So that makes total sense. All right. All right. This has been an amazing conversation. So I'm going to hit you with our final question. Okay. Now, you've you created this prototype, got the US patent. You've already said, it would be a dream come true if you were to work, or be able to present this to a manufacturer of roller coasters and everything like that. I guess I'm going to hit you with an easy question for this one. Let's say you were able to do just that. Got to a manufacturer, they say, yes, we're going to build your roller coaster. Where would you want to see the grand opening of your roller coaster, and why?
Wow, that's an excellent question. Oh, you said it was going to be easy, but this is tough. I got a couple answers. So I'm fortunate enough to have been to a few different amusement parks throughout the United States, and a top pick I would say would be Cedar Point in Ohio, which many
Okay.
people and many coaster enthusiasts claim is the roller coaster capital of the world. So I think to be in a coaster mecca like that, and to
Mhm.
potentially have something that's a tower based like this and be hundreds and hundreds of feet tall, just standing apart from everything else on that already very impressive skyline would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
One of the other place that comes to mind, ironically, would be Six Flags Qiddiya City in Saudi Arabia. So they just opened the
Oh, okay.
world's tallest, fastest, and longest roller coaster ever constructed. It's 640 feet elevation change. And so
Yeah.
one day, maybe with unlimited funds, I could go to them and say, hey, see that tall roller coaster that you built that broke every record? Let's break it again. Because I'm someone who loves going big, loves building bold. To put something like this to almost dwarf the previous record holder would be absolutely incredible. But that would be a big fantasy. But in terms of practicality, I think somewhere in the U.S., either at a Six Flags or probably Cedar Point, would just be fantastic because you'd have a lot of eyes on it and hopefully a lot of people riding it and enjoying it. But that's an awesome question, really fun to think about.
Wow, wow. That's interesting because I'm in Jersey and Six Flags is the local park for us, and we had King Kai. And I remember when King Kai
Yes.
first came out, I was one of the first folks on that ride. I remember I had contact lenses on, and it shot once it shot out and went up, my contacts started to like separate in my eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, it was insane. I
Yeah.
haven't been on a roller coaster in such a long time, but man, whew, that is intriguing. And I learned something new about you said Cedar Grove, what was it? Uh,
Yes. So Cedar Point over in
Cedar
Ohio.
Point.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's something I did not know. I
Yeah.
did know about the Six Flags in Saudi Arabia. I remember that. I
Yep.
remember reading something about that. Like, oh my gosh, they're like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're going big all the time, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh man, but you know what? That would be an amazing accomplishment in your world, in your life. I'm hoping for the best for you. I'm praying for the best for you. That
Thank you.
doors will open up, and you will continue to be the same humble guy that you've always been. I've had the pleasure of meeting and talking to right now. Um, I would uh, give you the opportunity to let us know where can we follow you, how can we support you as far as ideas or whatever. Share with us. Where can we find you?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. The best place to get in touch with me, see everything I'm up to, is definitely Instagram. You can find me at Luke99 Studios on there. I've also got a website if you're more interested in my background and like my portfolio of projects, luke99studios.com. And then I've also got a YouTube channel, same name, Luke99 Studios, that's got a lot of my older projects if you really want to see from humble beginnings what a Lego Master looks like many, many years before he gets on the show. So, all great ways to get in touch. Feel free to reach out, say hi. I'm always open to connecting.
Wow, awesome, awesome, Luke. Thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for being on with a good 5 minutes with us. I'm sure wherever Mel is, whenever he wakes up, he'll definitely watch this and he'll be super jealous that he didn't get a chance to ask you some killer questions. But we hope to have you on again. We are watching what you do, and we can't wait to see what new things you come up with and what new things you might get patent, and hopefully in a couple of years be at the grand opening of your roller coaster. You never know.
Thank you so much. Means the world to me, Corey. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Luke.
Thank you so much.